Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances of Sri Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, verse 18. The chapter is entitled The Punishment and Reward of Kali. We're happy to have Her Grace Mother Gita with us. Hare Krishna Mother, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Sri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Mother, and it's all yours.
Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva. Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parivrajapacharya Astotar Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय, मायापुर धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, समेत भक्तवृंद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, verse number 18. Navayam klesha bijani yataha syuhu purusha shabha purusham tam vijani no vakya bheda vimohitaha. Not vayam, we, klesha bijani, the root cause of sufferings, yataha, wherefrom, syuha, it so happens, purusha rishabha, O greatest of all human beings. Purusham, the person, tam, that, vijanimaha, no, vakya bheda, difference of opinion, vimohitaha, bewildered by. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. Purport. There are many theoretical philosophers in the world who put forward their own theories of cause and effect, especially about the cause of suffering and its effect on different living beings. Generally, there are 6 great philosophers. Kannad, the author of Vaisheshika philosophy. Gautama, the author of logic. Patanjali, the author of mystic yoga. Kapila, the author of Sankhya philosophy. Jaimini, the author of Karma Mimamsa. And Vyasadeva, the author of Vedanta Darshana. Although the bull, or the personality of religion, and the cow, the personality of the earth, knew perfectly well that the personality of Kali was the direct cause of their sufferings. Still, as devotees of the Lord, they knew well also that without the sanction of the Lord, no one could inflict trouble upon them. According to the Padma Purana, our present trouble is due to the fructifying of seedling sins, but even those seedling sins also gradually fade away by execution of pure devotional service. Thus, even if the devotees see the mischief mongers, they do not accuse them for the sufferings inflicted. They take it for granted that the mischief monger is made to act by some indirect cause, and therefore they tolerate the sufferings, thinking them to be God-given in small doses. For otherwise, the sufferings should have been greater. Maharaj Parikshit wanted to get a statement of accusation against the direct mischief monger, but they declined to give it on the above mentioned grounds. Speculative philosophers, however, do not recognize the sanction of the Lord. They try to find out the cause of sufferings in their own way, as will be described in the following verses. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, such speculators are themselves bewildered, and thus they cannot know that the ultimate cause of all causes is the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Translation once again. O greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. So we are continuing with punishment and reward of Kali. And we see here that the personality of religion, which is the bull, is speaking. Parikshit Maharaj, he before I continue, can you please unshare the screen? Thank you. Sorry about that. So we see here that Parikshit Maharaj, he asked a question. Who is the cause of your suffering? Many people, most people, I would say, have an instant reaction. Who is the cause of your suffering? This one, that one, that one, that one. We just keep pointing fingers and never look inside us to see, is it something that I have done wrong that I'm facing these reactions? That thought doesn't come to the mind. It is always someone else giving us trouble. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking this question, who is the cause of your suffering? And Dharma, in the form of a bull, is making it very, very clear. So it's very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who's the cause of our suffering. See the words that are used, miscreant. And it's very clear, it's difficult to ascertain, it's very difficult to decide, it's very difficult to figure out who is causing trouble to us, who is the cause of our suffering. If someone had asked us, it would take us a moment to say, okay, that one is the cause of my suffering. But here, no. And so, even though, like Prabhupada mentions in the purport, even the cow and the bull, that is Mother Earth and Dharma, knew that the direct cause was Kali. That was the cause of their suffering, but they did not reveal it. Parikshit Maharaj wanted them to reveal that, but they did not. What about the ultimate cause, the bijani, the root cause? Bija means seed. We know, sufferings are there for different reasons. Like in the Padma Purana, it is mentioned that sometimes when the karma is mature, like it's about to fructify, that is when we get suffering. Sometimes it is in the seed form, it is still there, it's not yet fructified. You see, so there are mature sufferings and mature reactions. And I am getting reactions right now because of my past karma, my past sinful actions. Why is it that children born on the same day at the same time, the same hospital, one is born in a rich family, another in the poor family, one is born very beautiful, the other one is disabled or not very beautiful, one is born in a high family, one is born in a low family, one is born in a family of educated people, while some babies are born in homes where everybody is illiterate. Why? Is it that God is a fool and he just decides ina, mina, mina, mo, and just put children here, there? No. This is due to mature reactions of our past sinful activities. And there are some reactions which are not, quite mature right now. So, it's going to come, sufferings are going to come later on. So we have committed some sinful acts and we are waiting for the reactions. Those reactions have not yet caught up by us. Not yet. Not by us, with us, not yet caught up with us. Still waiting. Dukhalayam, Krishna says, this material world is a place of misery. Reactions have to come. There are some reactions that will come in the future. Maybe not now, maybe not in the next month or year, but maybe in the future. And still there are some sinful activities that we are just thinking about. Just like Prabhupada says, someone is thinking, I'm going to rob a bank. It's not yet happened, has not yet robbed the bank, but it's there, the desire is there. So sometimes those sinful desires are there in the heart. And then later on, they, take on the face of actions, and then obviously there are going to be reactions. You have not yet committed those sinful activities, but thinking about it, that is also not very good. You see? So if we are thinking about committing some sinful activities, that is in the seed form, which is going to later on fructify, and then we will face the reactions. Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice example. Just like a child does not have a sex desire, but it will come when he grows up. You see, it's there, but will come, will manifest when the child is grown up. Seed is there, not yet developed, but will fructify later. So these are the different stages of, sinful actions and reactions. And Prabhupada says all these can be destroyed just by performing pure devotional service. Simple, very simple process to clear our slate of all sinful reactions. We learned this in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, right? Where Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityagya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami masuchaha. What does masuchaha mean? Do not fear. He says, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. And what will be the result? He says, I'll wipe out all your sinful reactions, which means it will lead us to pure state. And this is possible only when we perform pure devotional service. Now, why is it that we don't know who is responsible for our suffering? Why don't we know the root cause, the klesha bija? Why? Prabhupada mentions in the purport. Because we are bewildered by so many different associations that we have. This one said this, that one said that, I heard this, I heard that. There's so much confusion going on. So many, like in today's translation and purport, it says there's so many theories that exist for the real cause of suffering. Like Prabhupada says, many theoretical philosophers. So when there is too much knowledge, that also leads to confusion. All we need is knowledge as it is coming down from Krishna, the Supreme Lord himself. We don't want interpretations. We don't want opinions and realizations. No, we want knowledge as it is. Like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam imam rajashayo viduhu. This knowledge, this science of self-realization has to be received in strict disciplic succession. And we see that in the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Krishna spoke it to Brahma, Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyasadeva. Like that, it's coming down. Number 32 is Srila Prabhupada. So we need to take on knowledge as it is, which is bona fide. Yes, many theories are existing. There are so many theoretical philosophers which give their own theories about cause and effect. And in the purport we read today, Srila Prabhupada, he's talking about 6 great philosophers. He says Kannad Rishi, who was the author of Vaisheshika philosophy, Gautama Rishi, author of Nyaya Shastra, which means logic, Patanjali Rishi, who's the author of Mystic Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, right? Kapila, author of Sankhya philosophy. Jaimini Rishi, author of Karma Mimamsa philosophy. Vyasadeva, who is none other than Krishna himself. What did he give us? He's the author of Srimad Bhagavatam that we are reciting today, right? He is author of Vedanta Sutta, the Veda. He gave us the Vedanta philosophy. So all these philosophies, if we read Krishna book chapter 87, we'll get a brief description of all these philosophies. And it is actually spoken by the Vedas themselves. You know, there is a chapter which is prayers by Vedas personified. When Krishna appears, you know, to Devaki, and that's the time when these Vedas personified, they offer prayers. So there is mention of all these. So they give, you know, Srila Prabhupada actually gives a rundown of these philosophies. And he also points out their defects. So there are these great philosophers, 6 great philosophers, but Prabhupada says Srila Vyasadeva, he is giving the conclusive truth. He, in his maturity, wrote Srimad Bhagavatam under the guidance of his spiritual master, Narada Muni. And what is Srimad Bhagavatam? It's the essence of all philosophies. It's the essence of all the Vedic literatures. So you see, so many philosophies are floating around, Prabhupada says. They are floating around. Like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that Parikshit Maharaj, he is indirectly telling to Dharma, who's in the form of a bull, that you know the scriptures, so why don't you know who is responsible for your suffering? So what is the reply of Dharma, the bull? He says, yes, that is there, but because there's knowledge of so many scriptures, it is causing misunderstanding. You see, people go out and they buy lots of books from this author, this topic, that topic. So many different books are available. We go to the airport, there is a bookstore. We go to the mall, there's a bookstore. We go to some shopping area, there's a bookstore like Barnes and Noble. The books everywhere. And what do people do? Read a little here, read a little there, and maybe from this book and maybe from that book. And then what is the end result? Confusion. So much confusion. It's like If I want to make something, I want to cook something, I take a little of this spice and little of that spice and take this also and put this also and put wheat also and put maida also and put quinoa also and put all different things. Just what happens? There's confusion. You can't tell what is the end product. So reading all kinds of books doesn't mean we know it all. Doesn't mean we know the cause of all our sufferings. The more books we read, the more confusion is created. Srila Prabhupada said, if only we can read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion, good enough. Even if we just read Bhagavad Gita is good enough. Now, read doesn't mean just randomly read. No. Read scrutinizingly. Understand each and every verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Then there will be no confusion. You see, the sages at Naimisharanya, they, are requesting Sutta Goswami. You see, please pick up the essence of the Shastras so that all living beings can get the best knowledge. And when we receive the best knowledge, it's going to lead to satisfaction. So if we really want to understand the science, the spiritual science, if we really want to understand Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, then we must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Upadyakshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. This self-realized soul who's coming down in strict disciplic succession has seen the truth. For anything that we want to learn in this material world, we go for a teacher. We look for a bona fide teacher, whether it's music, dancing, karate, whatever we want to learn. We're always trying to take guidance from a bona fide teacher. So why not in spirituality? See, the spiritual master can guide the disciple what to read and not waste time. Read this also, that also, from here and from there. No speculation. So hearing and reading, not this or that. Hearing and reading as per the instructions of the Guru. See, we all understand that there is suffering in this material world. Birth, disease, old age, death, sufferings caused by mind and body, sufferings caused by other living beings, sufferings caused by material nature. We all know about these sufferings. No one likes to suffer. No one wants to suffer. Everyone wants to enjoy, right? How can I enjoy? But still, suffering is coming. I was in Baltimore last week, and I heard so many devotees talking about their sufferings. Suffering is there. That was my response. Even I am suffering. Material world, Krishna says, is a place of suffering. So how can we believe or accept that there should be no suffering in this material world? That's the nature of material world, suffering. Practically everyone is going through suffering. Maybe the degree is different. Someone is suffering less, someone is suffering more. But the truth is, material existence is suffering. Now the question is, what is the cause of all this suffering and how to get rid of this suffering? An intelligent person will inquire, I do want to get rid of suffering. So the question is, how to analyze what is the cause of my suffering? Now, as Prabhupada says, that the bull and the cow And in fact, Parikshit Maharaj also knew that the direct cause of their suffering was Kali. But Parikshit Maharaj wanted to hear it from the bull. But the bull did not, because the bull knew, Dharma knew, even Mother Earth, the cow, knew that without the sanction of Krishna, no one could hurt them. You know, there's a saying, not a blade of grass moves without the permission of the Lord, right? So when Kali was hurting the cow and the bull, they understood that it has to be a sanction from the Supreme Lord. No one could inflict pain on them without the sanction of the Lord. Krishna is there in the heart as a guide, as a witness, as a sanctioner. So, can anything happen without his permission? That's not possible at all. And Bhagavad Gita, we learned chapter 3 and chapter 5. Why is it that Krishna spoke 2 chapters on karma in the Bhagavad Gita? It's because it's a very important topic. It's talking about actions and reactions. All our past sinful actions are reaping reactions now, at present, or will reap in the future. So you see, there in Bhagavad Gita, we learn different kinds of karma. There is instant karma, there is mass karma, there's delayed karma. All different stages are there. And there is some karma which is in the seed form called the bija. But the best part is what we learn from this verse is that we can nullify all our sinful reactions by performing pure devotional service. Excuse me. And Srila Prabhupada has given us the process, simple process. We chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, very attentively. We follow the 4 regulative principles strictly. We read his books. We eat only Krishna Prasadam. We do service in the temple. And we try to give this knowledge to others. This is a simple process that can make one a pure devotee. Now, devotees, they understand how karma works because they have knowledge. They even understand that because I am performing devotional service, because I am chanting, due to Krishna's mercy, my karmic reactions have been reduced. For instance, if I was in a car accident, I was supposed to have died, or I was supposed to have become disabled, but due to Krishna's mercy, I have only gotten a token reaction, which is maybe my arm breaks or my leg breaks. That's it. So the devotees, they know how karma works. You see, if, excuse me, if the pain is inflicted by others to us, whether it is physical, whether it is mental, mental agony, whatever it may be, we should know the cause of the suffering and not try to accuse others of our suffering. If we are suffering, we are the cause of our own suffering. Don't blame it on others. I don't know if you'll remember me talking about this little story where this lady, she is not well and she goes to the doctor. After the diagnosis, prescription is given 3 different medicines that she needs to take 3 times every day to become well. She comes home and she distributes that medicine to her husband and her 2 children. Say, you are sick, you are sick, you are sick, take this medicine. They are not sick. It's the lady who was sick who was supposed to take the medicine. This is what we do. We are suffering. You are the cause, you are the cause, you are the cause. No. Do not accuse others for our own suffering. Those who are causing us suffering, Srila Prabhupada explains, they are the indirect cause. They are just the via media. They're just an excuse to give us the suffering that we deserve based on our past sinful actions. If it's not person A giving us, it'll be person B giving it to us, inflicting pain on us. It could be person C, anybody. So who is the cause? We are the cause. And the devotees, fortunately, because of knowledge, they learn to tolerate the suffering. See, knowledge plays a very important part. So knowledge of karma is also important. So we should read chapter 3 and 5 of Bhagavad Gita thoroughly and understand what is karma, what is akarma, what is vikarma, all this. So when we understand that, then we act accordingly based on knowledge. And then we get, either we get sinful reactions or we don't. If we perform akarma, which means following the instructions of the Supreme Lord and not desiring to enjoy the fruits of our activities, then there's going to be no reactions. So important point is, why blame others for our own suffering? Srila Prabhupada says that the devotees, they know that because they are performing devotional service, Krishna's mercy is there and their suffering is reduced. They think, the devotees think, I probably deserve more suffering, but because of the Supreme Lord's mercy, it has been reduced. So here in this verse, we see that Parikshit Maharaj, he was trying to get the truth out of the bull, the dharma. But they refused to give that statement. They did not say it is Kali. Kali is the one who is causing us suffering. Nope. Because they knew without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, no one can inflict pain on them. But Prabhupada says non-devotees do not understand that because they don't have knowledge and they don't understand what is the cause of their suffering. And that leads to bewilderment. They cannot understand who is the cause of all causes. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma, he's praying the very first verse. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His form is Satchita Ananda, full of eternal bliss and knowledge. And he's the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, it's very difficult to understand karma. Very difficult. But at least we get some basic knowledge how karma works. And all of us, we are very, very fortunate that we have the opportunity to be Krishna conscious. We have the opportunity to try and become devotees, to chant the holy names of the Lord, to read Srila Prabhupada's books, and above all to associate with devotees. Last week when I was in Baltimore, 500 God siblings, so blissful. I mean, meeting so many of them for the first time, exchanging realizations, chanting together, dancing, feasting together. Oh, Krishna, it was so blissful. It's sad that it was short-lived. Wish it could go on and on and on, but as they say, good things do come to an end. So that association is so, it brings in enthusiasm. It's like you get an injection of Krishna consciousness in your body. It's like so blissful, like you're in Vaikuntha. having darshan of the deities every morning, so beautifully dressed. One day, Srimati Radharani was dressed like a bride, so beautiful. And one day, holding an umbrella for Krishna. I mean, I've never seen that before. It was so blissful. And that's association. Revealing our minds, confiding in each other, learning from each other. So we are very fortunate that we are in Krishna consciousness. We are fortunate we have the process that Srila Prabhupada has given us so we can break the cycle of birth and death. The only requirement is to take up this process sincerely and seriously. Start chanting if we are not chanting. And if we are chanting not attentively, start chanting attentively. Prabhupada says, if one chants attentively, then everything else will fall in place. Nothing else is required. Because this chanting, these holy names, they are very powerful sound vibrations. They help to remove all the bewilderment that is there in our hearts, all the doubts that are there in our hearts, all that is removed. And what happens? The faith becomes more firm, and that leads to detachment. Talking about detachment and attachment, when I was in Baltimore, one of my god brother, his son is Balaram, maybe 3 or 4 years old. Oh, he is the cutest child I have ever seen. So cute, just a little boy. And he is dancing in ecstasy in kirtan, moving his legs in front and back. Oh, so much involved in the chanting. I got attached to him, which is not a good thing. And I told his father, I want to take him home. He said, no, he's my life and soul. I'm like, oh, you are attached too? Then, of course, on the last day, I asked Balram, can I take some pictures? And he's like, no. So his mother gave him a candy, so that I could take some selfies with him. Just, it's okay to be attached to devotees. I mean, I was so inspired by his devotion. He is dancing in ecstasy. So beautiful. Trained from right young age. He could do kirtan. His sister, well, maybe 6 years old, could also do beautiful kirtan, chanting and dancing. So beautiful. So association is very, very helpful. And if somehow or the other we can chant attentively and read Srila Prabhupada's books. In fact, Prabhupada said he read his own books. How can we give this knowledge to others if we don't read, right? Practice before we preach. In fact, Prabhupada says people like something new. They want to do something new, and that is a disease. What is there new? To hear, to eat, to see, everything new to read. That Prabhupada says is a disease. Why do we want to invent new things? The process of self-realization is already given in the Bhagavad Gita. In fact, chapter 5, last verse, gives us even a formula to peace and happiness. What do we need to do more? No. We have everything. All we need to do is hear, understand, and follow. As Prabhupada always says, no need to add or subtract. Everything is given in as it is. Why water down the philosophy, add my own realizations to that or my own interpretations in that? Realization is okay, but not interpretations or speculations of my own. No. No need to water down the philosophy. Parampara is there. Authenticity of the data is maintained. It's coming down straight from Krishna himself. No need to change. The verse again. O greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. So I'll end here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mother Gita, for such a wonderful class. Really, really, really nice. Very, very sweet. Would like to ask devotees if any questions, any clarification, any doubts, please do ask. Mother Gita, I was really enjoying the when you were sharing the union or reunion with your God family in Baltimore. And then you made the comment, that it was short-lived, and everything good comes to an end. And I was just thinking, wow, is this how it will be in the spiritual world, where it will just be, having fun all the time, and then it will not be short-lived because it's so beautiful, just, associating with each other, dancing with each other, eating and feasting and meeting for the first time. And as and I was thinking, wow, if it goes on forever, then that happens only in the spiritual world. So I was really, really thinking, Krishna, is this how it is going to be? Like it just goes on and there's never an end.
He's giving us a glimpse here.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you see the trailer of the movie, but the whole movie is in the spiritual world.
Yes, Mother, that's such a good point. Absolutely. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I was really, really relishing the pastime that you're sharing about your experience. So thank you for that. And if the voice would like to say something or share something, or Mother, I have a question, and I come across the situation, sometimes when we are so much caught up, you mentioned something, and correct me if I'm wrong, that too much knowledge is also not good. And sometimes, I come across situations where devotees say, but it's spiritual knowledge, so what's wrong with that? But I've also noticed that when spiritual knowledge is taken from every and any place, then it becomes a confusion, because we are getting different multiple theory for one point. So and I think that happens with those who are very intellectual. So how can we be careful, Mother, to not fall prey into that?
Yes, it's very, very important, because our tendency is that when we see new books on the shelf or for sale, we want to pick this also, that also, that also. Those many times we don't have time to read them, but those who are, avid readers, they would do that, but leads to a lot of confusion. And Prabhupada makes it very simple. So just read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. You don't need anything more. In fact, excuse me, reading these two scrutinizingly will take a whole lifetime. Where's the time to read other books? There's no time, you see. So the more simple we keep it, the more effective it's going to be, and the more beneficial it's going to be. I have seen personally, I've experienced one of my god brothers. This was many years ago in Juhu, Mumbai. He had asked my husband and I to start a Bhagavad Gita class in his house for his neighbors, relatives, or whoever may want to come. And there we noticed that he had all these different kind of books. So we just asked him why. He said, no, I like to read. I like to read. I like to read. And I remember one time I was in the room of my spiritual master, having darshan. And this devotee also was sitting, and Guru Maharaj specifically told him, no need to read all these books. It will take you away from Krishna consciousness. And he didn't take that guidance very seriously. And after a little while, he was gone. He was gone. No one knew where, how, why, nothing at all. He was gone. And that is a live example, because reading so many books from here, there, and everywhere was very confusing for him. And then he gave up the actual, or what you call actual Krishna consciousness. He left it because he was so confused. So it's actually very dangerous to, read all different kinds of books. We actually don't have time. I mean, come to think of it, we have such a, busy life. Every day is a struggle. 24 hours are not sufficient for us. I'm sure even if we had 32 hours in a day, it would not be sufficient. Where's the time? So whatever little time we get to read, we read only Bhagavad Gita as it is, and try and read Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita.
That's an amazing point, Mother. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Parikshit, go ahead with your question.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Again, before I ask my question, thank you very much for an in-depth lecture. So many points were brought up that help us to shed some doubts and misunderstandings, even about the Shastra. And thank you also for relating the Baltimore situation when you were there and how blissful that was. When you were speaking today, and I'm asking the question in general because it applies to so many devotees. And if it hasn't applied to some new devotees yet, which I hope not, it will later on, because this is all part of our growth. And it happens a lot in communities, but let me get straight to the question. You mentioned the fact that when sometimes things happen, negative things happen to us, it's the people that caused it, we saw do to us, they are not the direct cause, they're indirect. You mentioned the indirect. I've heard also say like we should look at it like they were the tools by which Krishna used to inflict the token reprisal for what happened. Now, in the case of devotees and one devotee doing something to another, again, the person that is the victim or the person that's the receiver of that negative thing is supposed to look at it the way I've described it. The person that did it is just an instrument being used for it. But, and now here comes the question. We are in the same, say we're in the same community. When you see that person, you remember what happened. Okay, now we come to the emotional part of the person. You remember what happened. And you also understand that, yeah, the person was a tool. So basically that thought of the person being the tool by which this happened, but you always, I myself had to go, if I take myself to example, I myself had to go through this from previous stuff that I had to suffer from or what I had done. How do I relate to this person? How do I relate to this person that caused it? Remembering that every time I see it, I said, yeah, it was through this person that I went through that. I don't say anything bad to them, but the thought is at the back of my mind. You can't forget it. How do you deal with that?
Very good question, Prabhu. Very important point. And I learned this a long time ago from my husband, actually. He said, when we see that devotee who inflicted pain on us, even though we know that it is because of our past actions, and that we also know that devotee is just an indirect cause. So the best thing is in mentally to thank that devotee for reducing my karma. Just thank that devotee. Thank you. Because of you, I was able to reduce, say, if I had 100 marks in my karma, now it's 99, now it's 98, now it's 97. Thank you. You see? So if we have that attitude, and also if we can serve that devotee, you see, serve that devotee in some form, that will help us to become humble and not think of that devotee in a negative way. Oh, you are the one who inflicted pain on me, you see? Yeah, because whenever someone inflicts pain on us, it kind of, you can say it's written in stone in our heart, which cannot be removed there. Oh, Forgive, yes. Forget, no. That is not possible. Every time I see you, I'm going to remember what you did to me. No. Instead, if we have the attitude of gratitude, thank you. You helped me reduce my karma. So this is what I learned from my husband.
Thank you very much. That's a very, very, very good approach to detaching from the whole situation. It's very, very, very helpful. I'm glad I asked the question because so next time, my own situation and then somebody else next time, they're in that situation too, I can help them with the same kind of response. Now, now the other side of the same thing, the same situation is since we will thank the person because we know what has happened, but in their association, well, let's put it this way: how do we, to what extent do we associate with that person? To what extent do we associate with that person, knowing that whatever caused or the situation that happened between that person and me, or those persons and me, could happen again? Maybe they won't, but it could happen again if I get too close to these people. Yeah, we're talking about a situation where the devotee that it receives it, even though it knows indirect, they got quite hurt because you can't take the emotions off totally. The understanding is there, but the emotions don't have any brains. Emotions don't have brains. So that situation may be there and it'll be lurking in the back of it. I get too close to this person. What if they do that to me again? As they say, a scorpion has claws. You can try to hold the scorpion's hand, not meaning that the scorpion doesn't mean to bite you, but if you hold these claws and the claws, then you get affected. So should we be close to that person? Or to what extent should we relate to those people, even though we know they were tools that were used? That's my question.
Yeah, so if you can understand the pulse of the devotee, as they said, if you can understand how they behave, how they react, excuse me, what is their level of consciousness, you can get an idea, with associating with them for some time. Then it would be nice to offer obeisances to them mentally. Like Prabhupada says, anyone who's chanting Hare Krishna is a devotee, and we should offer obeisances mentally at least. So then offer obeisances mentally and avoid taking association. But if they approach us for association, we are ready to give. We're ready to give. But at the back of our mind, we know their tendency. So we should be prepared not to get affected by it, you see? And also, sometimes it so happens that our association helps that other devotee. You see, we may not know, but it may help the other devotee in changing their consciousness somewhat, you see? So like when devotees, they go to place of work, we have heard this, give association, don't take association, don't get affected by their consciousness, but try to, share your knowledge with them or give them association. So we should be cautious with such devotees. And because we have knowledge and we understand that if I associate and if this devotee is again going to inflict pain on me, that again is my karma. I am reducing my karma. This is just an indirect cause, but try and avoid that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I have those situations here too in Atlanta, so I try to.
If you're in the Krishna consciousness for quite a while, then, it would happen in the community because they usually turn some devotees to help us to reduce our karma from devotees indirectly. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Okay.
Actually, I think if you allow me, Mother Gita, to share what Radhanath Swami mentioned many years ago, because I had that same situation. I think this was probably the same year or the year after after Bhaktivedanta Swami left the planet. I asked a question in class, and he said that forgive, but don't allow yourself to be walked all over again. Because you're allowing yourself to become a prey So you have to be intelligent. That's the word he used. You have to be intelligent. Forgive, be cordial, be warm, but don't put yourself out again. That's one thing he said. So that always stayed with me. That
Yeah.
always stayed with me. Yeah.
Very important point. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mother, there's a question here by Saurabh. It's saying that let me read it. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. I remember hearing the bull and cow are also the representation of innocent people who will get confused with a lot of different mundane philosophies. Is that also correct?
I don't know. Sorry. I have not heard that before.
Innocent people.
Don't know. I haven't heard that before, so I cannot answer that. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mother. No problem. Yeah, I haven't heard that either. So that was probably something new, but yeah. But I can definitely understand that if it's too much philosophy for the new people, they're going to get confused big time.
Even devotees will get confused.
Yes, Mother. So true. So true. Yes. Any other questions from devotees? Any reflections, any thoughts, any doubts that's coming to your mind? Please, Mother, and one more thing you were sharing that I was really appreciating. Oh, I slipped my mind. Right after you spoke, oh yes, when you spoke right after the your experience in Baltimore, and you were talking about, the deities, like really looking forward to the deities, and I was realizing how we get so caught up in our material lives, the rat race, that we really don't see the importance or the beauty of taking the time to want to be immersed in going to the temple, attending temple programs, seeing the deities, being with devotees, being in the association. Like we just because we're so caught up, so much stuff. So I was at a moment I had a little fear, actually. I said, oh my God, that's pretty scary. That thought just pricked my mind. Oh, that is so scary to have that, have the life where we are so caught up that we don't take the time to see, wow, like you were talking about Radharani holding the umbrella, a little fascinating. And I was thinking, Krishna, we really got to make use of our time.
Yeah.
I had a little fear in my heart for a moment, Mother.
Actually, when I saw Radharani holding umbrella, I looked at my sister and said, she'll get tired all day holding umbrella, She's holding the umbrella. And then when I went right in front, for darshan, I realized she's not holding umbrella. It's in between Radha and Krishna. So I said, thank God, she's not holding it, because that would be so tiring, holding it. Of course, Radharani doesn't get tired, but we are thinking materially, if we would be holding umbrella, we would be tired, shoulders hurting. But that was, and I found out that the reason for the umbrella was because it was too hot that day. Even the deities are in the temple, there's no sunlight or heat or anything, air is on, but still, because it's hot outside. So that's a nice meditation.
Yeah, it's funny, Mother, because yesterday when I was doing the noon offering, and I was thinking, I said, when will it be a really, really hot day that we can put, Nita Guru Chanda without their shirts and just put each other?
Yes.
I'm just waiting when I can do that.
Yes, I've already started that since it started becoming hot. Yeah, just
That's
so
a way, we need that one day so I can just take the shirt off and just put chadar on them, Yeah. But I was just really realizing, how we get so caught up, Mother. We get so caught up and we don't even, and time is just passing by, just fleeting. It's just going, and it's so scary. I know for me, when you were describing it, I had a moment of fear. I said, oh my God, Krishna, this is crazy. Why am I feeling fearful? Like time is just fleeting. So thank you for helping us to check ourselves, Mother, like really checking ourselves. Thank you so much. I would like to ask the voice of any questions, any comments, reflections. Please do unmute yourself. And yes, Krishna Saranam Prabhu, please go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Well, when you were describing all the Baltimore experience, the fun and the bliss and everything, I was missing so much, Mataji.
I'm sorry.
And even though I was here, mentally I was there all the week, Mataji. I don't know if you saw me there. I don't know. But I feel so bad for not going there and seeing Maharaj and seeing all the devotees. And thank you for your description. And I feel so happy. At least I could hear, I could imagine what's going on there. And such a beautiful lecture, nice lecture, Mataji. Thank you. So have mercy on us, and So Maharaj is there till Monday, looks like. I saw he's going to be.
No, tomorrow he starts traveling to Detroit and to Toronto.
Oh, okay.
And then
Okay.
he'll be back in
Yeah.
and then go back to India. Yes.
Yeah. So, I'm, even though I'm here, my body is here, my mind is always there.
That's all
I'm
that
so
you
sorry
want.
I couldn't go there, Mother. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. And Saurabh Prabhupada put a post that he always like when devotees stress about the urgency of Krishna consciousness and the seriousness about chanting. Yes, we gotta be urgent.
Yes.
We gotta be urgent.
We don't have much time.
No, mother. No, like I think a few days ago, my husband and I were very affected knowing of a devotee who left his body in Baltimore because we've known him.
Yes, we were there at that time. Yes.
Yes. And we've known him since early 90s, actually, when we moved to Gita, and we've known him before he got married, when the kids were born. So it was very shocking to us. I think he's just a few years older to me. Very shocking.
51.
And it happened.
Yeah, 51.
50. Oh my God. Then he's my age. My goodness. And happened so sudden, so shocking, and just left. And we were so affected, my husband and I, like, it's anything can happen at any time. It's unpredictable.
My godbrother was doing Mangalarti, deity worship on the altar. And after that, there's that Narsingha prayer, and he was not there. And I'm like, what happened? Why another pujari has come, to do Narsingha prayer? And afterwards, he came to me and he said, because, this devotee had a heart attack and was rushed to the hospital, and he passed away. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really, really like, and because we've known him, and he's young because his parents are still alive, actually. Leaving behind, kids, the daughters, in college, I think, or almost finishing college. My daughters know her pretty well. But it's just that we were so affected that we realized, we just saw him a few months ago. And then Krishna just takes them, and we were like, yes, we got to be urgent. We cannot sit and do petty, nonsense. We got it like so.
No, these incidents also remind us that when the devotees are there, let us associate with them. Let us appreciate them. Let us, let them know. Sorry. That's my son. Let them know, their good qualities, let them understand how important it is to be, in that association, and to how much we appreciate their good qualities. What's the point, after the devotee is gone, we start appreciating, oh, that devotee was so nice, used to do such nice kirtan, used to give such nice classes, was so humble. Why not say it to them when they are still there? You see? Very, very important.
Such a good point, Mother.
Yes.
We don't take time to be grateful and appreciative.
And let them know that we appreciate them.
Right. Yes.
Because after they are gone, we can't tell them.
No, Mother, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, really, really. Yeah. Krishna has a plan for everyone.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, Prikshit, go ahead.
Also, what happened with this particular devotee, I know she has already said how it affected us. But one of the realizations, and it's always been there, but sometimes when you get your emotions added to what your mind tells you about your intelligence, then it's fuller. It comes out, it hits you. That this material world is really, really, really a temporary place. You can't, no matter which way you slice it, it's temporary and it remains temporary. Nobody's gonna stay here forever. So once you get shocked that somebody's left, and then the other fact, the fact that he was that young, and even both parents are still alive, and he left the body. But thanks to Krishna consciousness and what we know about it, every time what we're learning about it, then it's not as shocking, but emotionally it hits you the wall. We'll check out of here. We'll check out of here. We'll check out of here. And how and when you don't know. And the example came out so. Yeah, it took me about at least 24, almost 48 hours to get over it. So I'm just getting
What
over
was
it.
his name? Dharmaraj Prabhu? Was his
Dharmaraj, yes.
Dharmaraj, yeah,
Yeah.
he's a
I
senior
asked
disciple.
this,
Yeah.
I asked this god brother of mine, was he hearing Prabhupada chanting when he left, But there was so much commotion, so much going on. So I didn't get a response, but I hope he was,
I hope, yeah.
Well, he has quite a bit of spiritual credits being involved in the temple a long time, and he was always thinking. You can put him even in the first class level, at least parts of it that I know, because he was always thinking about ways in which people can benefit more from Krishna consciousness. Literally, physical things that people could do. Temple presidents can do to their temples to benefit the devotees. Every time that I met him in Baltimore, that was the kind of conversation we had. He was always dumping all these ideas. Some of them were not practical, but the fact that he was even thinking about how to cause devotees to get even more devotional, just making things available, it was that was very, very strong point about him that I remember. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna would have definitely helped him at the time of leaving the body,
Yes. Yeah, he was a senior disciple. He's a disciple of Satsrup Maharaj. His whole family, actually, even his parents were, very, very nice. Known him, very nice. But thank you, Mother, for sharing this wonderful class and very, very meditative. Definitely, at least for me, to really make me think, how we have to take our life very, very, like you said, sincerely and seriously, like you mentioned. Have to be sincere and serious, Thank you, Mother. Thank you so much. And we thank the devotees for joining us and being part of the discussion and the class. Vanchakaptibhyascha, Kripasindabevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhya, Vaishnavebhya Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful day, devotees. Hari Hari Bol.